In 52 BC, Julius Caesar's legions were trapped. 52,000 Roman soldiers occupied a valley, while a Gallic force outnumbering them 6-1 moved into positions on the surrounding hills. If Caesar failed here, Rome's entire campaign in Gaul would collapse. The rebellion had finally found a way to bleed the Roman machine. By burning their own crops and destroying their own supply stores, the Gallic tribes were systematically starving the legions, refusing to engage in the open field battles where Rome excelled. This strategy belonged to Vercingetorix. He was the first leader to unify the scattered Gallic tribes into a single, coordinated military force. He even stamped his name on gold coins like this one, establishing a centralized economic authority that Roman generals hadn't encountered in Gaul before. Vercingetorix withdrew 80,000 warriors into the hilltop stronghold of Alysia, baiting Caesar into a siege. While the Romans dug in, messengers escaped the fortress to summon a relief army of 250,000 men from across Gaul, intending to pin the Romans against the fortress walls. This topographical map shows the geometry of the trap. Caesar was caught in a thin corridor between the 80,000 men inside the fortress and the 250,000 men closing in from the outside. Attacking the walls would have cost more men than Caesar could spare, and a retreat through enemy territory was impossible. Facing a two-front war, Caesar decided to turn the landscape itself into a prison, ordering his army to build their way out of the circle. Caesar's orders required his legions to construct 40 kilometers of double-walled fortifications in less than a month, wrapping the entire plateau in a ring of timber and earth. The Roman legionary was trained as both a soldier and a laborer. Each man carried heavy iron tools, spades, sickles, and pickaxes, allowing the army to move thousands of tons of earth and timber to create finished ramparts in weeks. This schematic shows the dual rings of the Roman system. The 11-kilometer inner ring, or circumvallation, kept the Gauls inside Alysia. The 21-kilometer outer ring, the contravallation, blocked the relief army from breaking in. Between these walls, the Romans lived and fought in a protected corridor. Before an attacker could even see the timber walls, they had to cross an obstacle field. The outermost layer was a barrier of interlocked, sharpened trees, designed to snag and stop a cavalry charge before it could build momentum. This 3D cross-section shows the hidden layers of the trap. Behind the trees lay the Alysia, concealed pits containing sharpened stakes meant to shatter ankles and break infantry formations. Any survivor then had to cross two parallel trenches, one filled with water, while Roman defenders fired from the 4-meter ramparts above. These obstacles functioned as a mechanical brake on the Gallic momentum. By forcing tens of thousands of men into a slow, disordered crawl, the Roman system bought the defenders the time they needed to identify and reinforce any point under attack. To manage 40 kilometers of wall with only 52,000 men, Caesar built an internal network of roads and fire signal towers between the two rings. As this diagram demonstrates, these internal roads allowed Roman reserves to move across the battlefield faster than the enemy on the outside. When a signal tower flashed, units were redeployed to a threatened sector within minutes, ensuring Romans were always concentrated at the point of contact. The relief army finally arrived in September, launching 3 massive coordinated assaults. For days, the Romans were forced to fight in 2 directions simultaneously, defending both the inner and outer walls. While the Gauls had overwhelming numbers, they lacked a unified command. As a coalition of different tribes, they struggled to synchronize their attacks across the massive 21-kilometer perimeter, allowing Caesar to defeat their thrusts one at a time. The system reached its limit when 60,000 Gallic warriors concentrated on a topographic weakness in the outer wall. They breached the rampart, threatening to collapse the entire defense. Caesar used the internal road network to move his cavalry to a hidden gate, riding around the outside walls to strike the rear of the attackers. Caught between the wall and the heavy cavalry, the Gallic formation broke and fled. The Roman machine succeeded because its infrastructure allowed Caesar to achieve local numerical superiority. By moving faster than his enemies, he ensured that his 50,000 men were never fighting more than a fraction of the Gallic horde at any single moment. After the final assault failed, the Gallic coalition fell victim to its own scale. Without a professional supply system to feed 250,000 men, the relief army quickly exhausted the local countryside and began to dissolve. Inside Alysia, the garrison was starving. Seeing the relief forced apart, Vercingetorix rode out of the gates in full armor and silently surrendered to Caesar. His attempt to unite Gaul had ended at the foot of the Roman walls. This map shows the tribal boundaries that Caesar erased. The fall of Alysia broke the capacity for organized resistance, and the territory of Gaul was permanently absorbed into the Roman Empire, defining the political map of Western Europe for the next 4 centuries. The 40 kilometers of walls functioned as a structural filter, partitioning the Gallic numbers and converting a massive horde into a series of smaller, sequential problems that a disciplined force could solve. Ultimately, Alysia demonstrated how a structured, defensive environment can systematically degrade a numerical advantage. By dictating where and how the fight occurred, Rome defeated a superior force not through raw strength, but through engineering.